Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Listening to AIM Ocala Live, WOCA The Source. Welcome back. Moving through this Friday here, July 24th, as we just rounded out with our interview there with Peg Donahue for Money is an Energy Game, as we talked with her. Now as we move on, coming up on 10 minutes before the top of the 9 o'clock hour, in the studio, once again, I have Mr. Joe Milado, congressional candidate for District 3, as we welcome you back, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Adam. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm excited for the weekend. I'm ready for the weekend, my friend. Nonetheless. But,
for me, it is nonstop until August 18th. It's a big push. I don't even know if I'm going to have something going on or if I'm just going to sleep that night and find out if I won the next day.
Right. It's always the day after that you'll probably sleep a lot better as you gear up for it. But as we welcome you back, as it's been kind of like a mention of getting to know you. That's why you've been on week by week by week. And we've been plugging your airtime with your advertisements there. I even said this morning, 622-9622. Our phone lines are open for those who want to get to know you a little bit more, maybe ask you a question. Our phone lines are open. But we got you in the studio today, maybe to discuss a little bit more about the campaign and a few other things that you wanted to touch on. So I'll let you have it.
Sure. Again, we've been getting our message out there, filling a lot of questionnaires, and I appreciate the people that are going out there sending those questionnaires out. I think it's a great opportunity to get to inform voters of your platform, because again, COVID happening, unexpected things happening, you got to take every opportunity that you could get.
That's right.
Especially if you are going grassroots, which we are.
Yeah.
So we got a endorsement by Boots of Recovery. It's a veterans advocacy organization. We got an A in pro-life forum, and recently, I wish you were there. It was good. We had a good forum over in Alachua, the Western Alachua Conservative Organization, and we were all there. At the end of it, I give this great speech about, what kind of characteristics do you want in a candidate. But before all that, I decided I wanted to do, just get in the moment. I jumped off the stage, and immediately I know that, I'm going to really nail the speech, but if I didn't land that landing, I tell you, I might have just walked right out. Just did a roll and just walked right out. But it was amazing, though. What I had said was, think about, if I were to ask you what you want in your candidate, your champion, to do something that nobody else has done, right? You might think of the physical characteristics immediately.
Sure.
A
lot of people do, right?
Right. You might think of them somebody as yourself, which is fine. But then if I said, stop, let's try again. Think about the other characteristics, whether they are qualified, whether they are determined, whether they're going to go bat for you and fight for you. Open your eyes. I had those intangibles, and it was great because everybody actually closed their eyes and opened them.
Yeah.
Which would have been embarrassing if everybody just kept their eyes open. But it was a good execution.
Yeah.
And it was good to get the message out there. We're having more forums. So, always look at our social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we're going to have, I think, a couple more. We'll be back in Marion County actually tomorrow for a forum.
Gotcha.
And that'll be casted over on Facebook.
And with that forum, open floor for questions and all that stuff, right?
I believe so. Well, every organization, every forum has their own kind of set of rules.
Sure.
So sometimes it would be questions from the audience, which is good because you get a good, sample size.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be, similar questions of COVID. That's when you could have the flexibility and say, hey, let's mix up some of these questions of let's have an energy question or a healthcare question.
Sure. What do you think has been some of the best questions that have been asked to you while being in this position to run for Congress?
I tell you, it is the interactions. The forums are great, but it's when people actually reach out to you, which is what I've been saying and wanting people to do. So I'll give you an example. Somebody had reached out and just left me a voicemail and said, Joe Milado, you might be representing me. I'm a voter. I have a disability, but I am, very capable. My question to you is, what are you going to do for the transportation system around here when I understand COVID and they need to get, drivers, but in terms of public transportation, it's not really viable around there. So instantly she knew it was going to be a local thing. So I told her, I said, hey, I know what other people have told you, or what I'm so good at it where you could tell me an issue and I could tell you what your current member may have said on that form letter. Because a lot of those times it doesn't really say much at all.
Right.
So she asked me specifically, what are you going to do? And I said, hey, this is a local issue, and you're going to go back and forth, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Just because it's not, in theory, our jurisdiction doesn't mean we just throw our hands up in the air. So I said, we can find ways. So I said, here's an example. I worked a lot about autonomous vehicles, so we did Consumer Protection Subcommittee. That goes a lot of ranges from the Takata airbag situation to making our highways safer. There's a lot of fatalities on, Florida because there's a lot of travel on the roads.
Right.
So autonomous vehicles are coming down the pike 2022. Now, it sounds scary. It sounds like the future Skynet or something, but it's not. We already have current autonomous vehicles. It's 0 to 5. Right now, it's at level 3, so the cars could talk to each other. It could self-park. Those reliable things. But then we're talking about in 2022, they're going to be driving themselves. So with these new technologies, things, you always want to make sure that industry and other people have their say. So I said, hey, what about this kooky idea? I know this thing's coming down the pike. I know we need short-term solutions, but also think about investments for long-term. I was like, the autonomous vehicles, as long as we try to make sure that we think about all these safety concerns, there are benefits to it. Do you have any friends that, are immobile or veterans that need to make medical appointments?
Right.
I see value and benefit in that. Since she said, I've never heard about that, that's an example of somebody just engaging.
Right.
Somebody asked me, don't give me a general response. What are you specifically going to do for Social Security?
Yeah.
And I said, there's all sorts of mechanisms that's already been proposed, changing the formulas. But let me tell you something. Here's an idea. I would like to... It's going to be a hard pitch for me to sell to our generation and younger, but why don't we pay into the system? Those are parents, grandparents, people who are paid into it. Let's make sure that they're sustained. Why don't we find a better way, a more prosperous financial stability, that we could find something else for our retirement? I think, although it sounds crummy, I think a lot of people our age will say, I can see what you're trying to do with that, and I don't want my taxes raised, but as long as I know it's where it's going, it's fine.
Sure. Now, in the idea too here, as we just got a couple minutes left, I think you wanted to touch just a little bit on the seat that you're running for, as comments were made in Washington here just recently of Yoho there in Washington.
Right.
And it had been brought up there with national news and stuff.
So that is it's a good question to ask at this point in time. And that being said, do we want to keep repeating the same old rhetorics and narratives? Do we give the other side the fuel and say, yeah, you're right, because we're just going to do the things that you say that we're accused of? So I say we take a look at it situationally. This one instance, I disagree with, yes, individuals' policies, but you could have disagreements. We're supposed to work through it. My gripe is that there's a way to do it, a proper way. There's always a right way and a wrong way to do it. Now, you are the voice for your constituency. Now, if it's a kooky idea or a kooky policy idea, then that's their constituency. And they could find a way to replace them. But for you to step in front of a member to block a voice, that's infringement on freedom of speech. So I don't know what we're fighting for. Again, do we just go along with it when it's our narrative, or do we hold the line?
Right.
So I say I absolutely would not have done that. There's a million other things you could have done. Right. But I don't think that's it's not about protecting Republicans. It's about protecting what's right.
Gotcha. Excellent. Well, that's a good note to end on, my friend, as we come to the top of the 10 o'clock hour.
I did want to add one last thing, Adam. We are going to premiere our political ad at 8 p.m. tonight. It's going to do a YouTube premiere, so you can find us at Milado number 4 Congress. But again, we'll be playing that ad. You're going to be so sick of it because we're going to be playing it all the time. Cool. But it totally puts in perspective who we are, what we're running for in 30 seconds.
Awesome. Excellent, partner. Well, there you go. Joe Milado, candidate for Congress. Glad to have you back in here,
Thank
partner.
you.
You got it. WOCA, The Source, will be back right after this.